Okay, a couple of quick notes before we start. First of all, get a couple of towels handy, plus the tools you see in the actual video. You need to isolate the cold, the flow and return. We need to drain down the boiler and turn the boiler off, make sure the power's off. There's a data badge on these boilers, usually underneath. It'll have something called a GC number on there. If in doubt, give Vaillant a call with your GC number. They'll tell you the correct part number. There's a couple different variants of these diverter valves, but this is how you repair this one, which is quite common and they're quite prone to leaking. So here's your video. Okay, my name is Pete, I'm from Combisir, and today we're going to be looking at diverter valves for the Vaillant Ecotech. Now these are really common for leaking, so very often customers will phone you and say, I've got a leak from my Vaillant Ecotech, and a lot of the time it's a diverter valve. So I'm going to show you what the likely cause is and how to repair it. First thing we need to do is we need to drain the boiler down. Once we've identified that this is the issue, which it quite often is, we need to drain the boiler down. We want to isolate the flow and return underneath the boiler, and we want to also isolate the cold underneath the boiler. Once we've done that, grab a couple of towels, make sure you protect any electrics, such as PCB or anything else. Make sure all the power's off to your boiler before you do anything, and then we're going to look at this. So I'll stick a quick video up of what a dripping one looks like. Yours might be slightly different, but they tend to drip from below. And they may only drip when there is potentially just a heating demand. So it might not drip constantly, but this is the usual culprit. So the first thing we're going to do, once we've ascertained this is the issue, we're going to remove this motor. And we do that, there's a little retaining clip on here. We're going to unscrew that, take him off, and then we're going to just pull the motor slightly forward. You can see how that goes back and forward, pulling it forward, and we're going to disengage him from the actual cartridge inside. I'll show you how to get this on. This is a new cartridge. I'm not going to be popping it in today, but I'll show you how this goes on. So this motor, all it does is it just clips on there like that. And literally all it does is it moves this spindle back and forth depending on whether you have a hot water demand or just a heating demand. And it'll just depend on that demand, this motor moves into the correct position. As you can see, these cartridges are basically just usually it's just a couple of O-rings on there, and one of the O-rings goes wrong, which is why you probably got a drip. But it's very often easier just to replace this cartridge rather than it is the full unit. These are held in place within the housing via a couple of retaining clips. These retaining clips are on here. You can see them just where my fingers are. And they sit quite snugly. There's a hole on the top there and a hole on the bottom there. So as the cartridge is pushed in, them retaining clips sit within there, which keeps this nice and secure. So once we've got the motor out, what we need to do is we need to actually get this cartridge out of its housing. There's a couple of tools you can buy. I quite like these these pliers, sorry. I quite like these pliers because all you do is you can just pinch the retaining clips. I try and break them. You may find it easier at this point. You'll notice if you're actually looking at yours, there's a pump on this side. There's a C clip, quite a long clip. You can just pull that out to get it out of your way. But use the pliers to pinch the retaining clips to take it away from where it's secured. As part of this kit, which costs about 30 quid on eBay, you also receive one of these, which is very useful. And what these do is they will, if you look at the inside there, you'll see some indentations. It will sit on your cartridge like so. So as you actually compress these retaining clips, you can use either an Allen key or a screwdriver to just turn it slightly so that you can be confident that these retaining clips don't re-engage with the housing. So once you've turned it away, all you need to do then is to get this cartridge out of here. Most DIYers will tend to use a set of long nose pliers and just simply tug it out, which is fine. I do this quite often, so I tend to use this little tool, which is by a company called Boilermate, who actually patented a new way of doing this. But this little tool's like priceless. again, the same as the way it engages with the motor. All you do is you pop him on. It's 11 o'clock. There we go. You pop him on and he sits like that. And then you just pull and your old cartridge will come out. So all these cartridges do is move back and forward. That's all they do. So this one was leaking. As you can see, I have broke the retaining clips off here because I used the pliers to get him out. We then get our new cartridge and we will notice, as in all of these things, there is a little hole on the side. One here, one here. We need to be really, really careful about how these actually go back in. Let's shut that door because I can hear somebody. We need to be really careful about how these go in. These got to go in correctly. So as you look at this inside the boiler, it'll be at that orientation. You'll see this hole here on the cartridge. That needs to be pointing towards the copper pipe that comes in. So your pump's going to be here. You'll have a pipe coming in here, and that hole should be in line with that. Directly above that hole, you'll see it as you push it in. That retaining clip will then just, as you push the cartridge in, it will engage with those securing points, one there and one underneath. I'm not going to stick this back in because I need it for a job, but let's pretend this is our new cartridge. So I've got my hole, I'm sticking it in there. I've lubed this up a little bit because in your pack you also receive a little bit of lube. This one was from tradeboilerparts.co.uk. I have nothing to do with the company, I just buy stuff from them. So my hole is on that side. I push it in as far as I can, making sure that my hole is on the correct side. I will then use this little tool that came with a set I bought off eBay, and I'm just literally going to push him home. So once you're confident he's actually gone, there he goes. You will hopefully hear two little clicks of your retaining clips actually engaging with the housing. If you don't hear them clicks, what you can use is a little screwdriver just to give them a bit of persuasion, to push them in to make sure they're actually engaged with the housing correctly. Once you've done that, it's just a case of popping your motor back on. It should go on fairly easily. Sorry, I've not got the best light here. There we go. So that's my motor back on. And then you get your retainer for the motor, screw them in. Plug in your electrical connection into there and then top up the boiler. Top up the boiler to about 0.2 bar. You don't want to take it all the way up to a bar and a half, just in case there are any issues, and make sure you're semi close to a drain off just in case the worst happens and you've cocked it up. And that should be you done. Once you're happy, you can then top up the boiler fully. No drips, test him on hot water and heating, and you should be away and done. Generally, this job would cost you, I'm going to move the camera, generally this job would cost you around, I don't know, so anywhere between 120 to, I've seen it quoted at 250, 260. We tend to be on the lower end, that's what it would cost you. The kit itself costs about 40 quid, that includes the little tool. And that's about it. So that's what you expect to pay. Hopefully this video helps someone. If you want to buy me a beer, feel free to PayPal me a couple of quid. I'm at peter@constuctive.co.uk, but no one ever does, so you know, whatever. You have a good one, and I hope this video helps you out. Take care and enjoy.